is it y'all don't date strippers? Like, what?
Now, y'all know I had to open my mouth and address this one here. And they have obligations and responsibilities to take care of. We say, you know what? We're not asking anybody for shit. And we take our own destiny and our own life in our hands. And we go make it do what it do and shake a little something. You don't want your girlfriend in the club, well, pay her bills then. Pay her bills. If you're not trying to pay her bills, and this is for any woman in my comment section talking about, well, oh, I got a boyfriend. If he's not trying to pay your bills, sis, go do what it do.
What's up, YouTube? Poor Man Podcast back with another video. Give me the HBO special. That's a Help a Brother Out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Let's get right into the video.
Can we talk about the sexual double standard? The one that gives men points for sexual experience and gives women demerit points? I mean, it's sick. Women are worried about their number. Men are asking, how many men have you been with? I wish we could say this was just patriarchy and we could erase things with a few cultural changes. We're working on it. But you need to know this. It goes back deep into our anthropological past.
Right.
Imagine this. A hunter-gatherer hooks up with a woman who's promiscuous or enjoys her body, and she's sharing her eggs with the team. He ends up getting cuckolded, meaning he ends up raising another man's genes, because we have concealed fertility. He doesn't know when she can get pregnant and when she can't. So that dude, the one who liked the woman who had lots of partners, he fell out of evolution's chain.
Bingo.
The guys who are here today are the ones whose ancestors said, where are you going?
Bingo.
Who you with?
And that's exactly the point that I always try to make. A man's number one purpose on this planet is to make sure that his DNA gets into the next generation. A lot of people don't understand that it's not natural for men to be stepfathers. It's not. Now, we can do that, and it's virtuous for a guy that has children to want to actually take care of another woman and her children. I understand it. It can be done, and it is a virtuous thing to do to some regard, but it is by no means natural. I don't know a single mammal where the male of a certain species takes care of the children of another male of that same species. I just don't see it. We're also the only species that can fly planes and have iPhones and have the internet, but I don't think that negates that we don't ever see the behavior of being a stepfather replicated anywhere else throughout mammals. But what about the yellow striped pigeons? I'm sure there's one or two species that do it, but for the most part, it's not replicated in nature. Women only like stepfathers when it's convenient for them, when they have kids and they want somebody to take care of their kids. Most women, if you ask them, do you want your son to be a stepfather? They'll say no. Probably because they understand that it comes with a lot of baggage and that's not his DNA. So before paternity tests, we had no way to assure that our DNA was going into the next generation, especially if we was dealing with a woman that was messing with multiple men. And even in today's age, when you look at the children that have been paternity tested, 30% of those children are being raised by a man who is not the biological father. So men being tricked into raising children that isn't theirs is a part of human history. And that's the main reason why men don't like promiscuity, and that's why it's embedded into our DNA to not like women that have been around the block. Not only that, but marriage is a huge risk for men, and statistically speaking, women who have had more partners before marriage have shorter marriages on average and are less happy in those marriages. So for a man that's going to risk everything on the line of marriage, to do that with a woman that could have a child outside of that marriage because she's promiscuous, and to do that with a woman who will not be happy in that marriage, statistically speaking, and will end that marriage early, statistically speaking, just isn't a good decision. We can say these are societal standards or societal views, but the truth of the matter is we know this innately, and the studies and statistics actually supports it.
I can't stand people that are like eating a bucket of like Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Like, I'm so fat. And like, they won't work out. They won't change their diet. They won't drink more water. They won't whatever, but they're complaining. I'm like, well, you're always going to be in this victimized state.
Oh, the hypocrisy. This is coming from Khloe Kardashian, the one that was overweight in the past, but went through surgery in order to lose a lot of her weight and push it right into her butt. So I think this is a situation, because I actually agree with her, but I think that this is a situation where it's the right message, wrong person type of deal. I don't think that she's the one that should virtue signal and tell people to be responsible for their own image and tell people that they should work hard in order to get the body that they want, while she changes her pictures through digital editing and gets liposuction and BBLs. I don't think that she's the person for the message, but I do get what she's saying. There are a lot of people that complain about their situation instead of doing the work necessary in order to be better. But to pretend that she actually did the hard work is ridiculous. And you had all the advantages in the world in terms of getting your weight in order. You were living in a very stress-free environment. You have professional chefs that can cook meals for you. You can hire fitness trainers. Just having the money in general just gives you a huge advantage. And you still decided to do surgery that takes the fat from your stomach and put it in your butt because you also didn't want to do the work in order to get the body that you have. So I think it's just right message, wrong person.
Why is it y'all don't date strippers? Like, what?
Now, y'all know I had to open my mouth and address this one here, and I'm so glad that I made a draft of this before he cut his fucking stitches off. Let's get into it. Men like y'all are weird because first and foremost, strip clubs stay packed with men like you. Y'all be laughing, having a great time, keying, try to take us home at the end of the night after you spend money like this. Not you though, because I'm pretty sure you ain't got no money. You just throwing your homeboys money. You talking about you don't want your woman in the club showing her body. You don't own that woman. That woman is not your fucking property. Okay? I don't know why y'all think that we do things under the gaze of you, because we fucking don't. Women that I know to dance are dancing because they have obligations and responsibilities to take care of. We say, you know what? We're not asking anybody for shit, and we take our own destiny and our own life in our hands, and we go make it do what it do and shake a little something. We literally cannot depend on you guys for anything. You talking about all this shit about how, oh, you don't want your girlfriend in the club. Well, pay her bills then. Pay her bills. If you're not trying to pay her bills, and this is for any woman in my comment section talking about, well, oh, I got a boyfriend. If he's not trying to pay your bills, sis, go do what it do, because these men, you cannot depend on them for anything. I have said this on many occasions. Sex work is popping and very lucrative because of women choosing to cash in on men and their poor impulses. Yes, I said it. Women cash in on men and their poor impulses. And by the way, plenty of people want to date strippers. Plenty of people have married strippers. Plenty of my stripper friends are married. So boy, what the hell is you talking about? The real $1 million question is, do we want to date you? Because at the end of the day, when we pack up our money and we get off that stage, we laugh about idiots like you in the dressing room. Your actions speak louder than words. Your actions have shown us that while you could talk about all this, having a girl with self-respect at home and having a girl that you love and you cherish, you're in my face throwing money trying to pick me up. So boy, bye. I'm done addressing him and his foolishness, but ladies, this message is for you. Regardless of what you choose to do with your life, please know that these men are going to call you a hoe regardless. Got a degree? Educated hoe that makes them feel this big. Are you birthing their children? Are you cleaning the skid marks out of their underwear? Are you cleaning up after them? Girl, they're in somebody else's face telling them that you're a nagging hoe. Are you living your best life with your homegirls, going out to see the world, popping bottles in that VIP section on a Saturday night, twerking upside down on the ceiling? Sis, still a hoe. What these men say and do, they will never be happy. They will never be satisfied. So ladies, live for you, do for you. And for everybody that has something to say about strippers, please cry about it. Because at the end of the day, on Monday, I'm going to deposit your fucking tears.
Basically, her logic is you should do this because guys are already going to call you this anyway, so why don't you just prove them right? Most of the women that go into this line of work are in their early 20s, and this is where expectations come into play, because what 20-year-old is going to be able to pay all of his bills and pay all of the bills of a woman? And if he can't do that, you should just go out and strip? That's her logic. Women have to understand that men have a duality in the women that we actually want to sleep with and the women that we actually want to marry. You're a woman and you're hypersexual and you have all the exaggerated features that men like. Of course, a man is going to be sexually attracted to you. That's what lust is. And men are designed to spread their seed into the next generation. And if you look like an easy target for that because you are over-sexual, well, then he'll try to take advantage of that. That's just something that we're naturally designed to do. With that being said, women exploit that quite often. Women will oftentimes be overly sexual or sexually signal in order to manipulate men to get some of the things that they want. That happens all the time. And I agree with her when she says that that's kind of the vulnerability of men, and some men will prioritize the potential to sleep with a woman over their own financial literacy. With that being said, when he's done with you, when he gets what he wants, once that lust dies down and goes away, he starts to look at your actual characteristics as a long-term partner. And if you don't have those characteristics, you're going to get kicked to the curb. And this is what you often see with a lot of these Instagram models. They're in these relationships for 6 months at a time because, of course, they look attractive and guys go, maybe I can do something with this. And then they find out that some of these women don't have the characteristics to be a wife. Also, if y'all watch the channel and y'all know my opinion on this topic, I actually don't care about women who go into this line of work or other lines of work that are similar but a little bit more extreme. There have always been women that have fell into that line of work, but it was generally from desperation. But now we have this new idea that's been sold to women called materialism, where they've been taught that you're going to find fulfillment in material goods, and to get those material goods, some women who are hyper materialistic are willing to do things that are against their moral code. So while she's holding up money and trying to convince women that that's the reason they should get into this line of work, she doesn't tell you about the mental illness, she doesn't tell you about the depression, she doesn't tell you about the substance abuse, she doesn't tell you about the potential for STDs, she doesn't tell you about the lack of friendships and relationships that you have, because it turns out if you're a hyper promiscuous woman that's materialistic, other women don't want you around the hubby. A lot of people will see that money and they think that she's doing big things, but the truth of the matter is it doesn't really matter how much money you make, it's about your spending habits. And women that go into that line of work tend to be hyper materialistic, so they spend the money as soon as it comes in. For example, 60% of millennials that make over $100,000 or more are living paycheck to paycheck because they're not making good financial decisions. 78% of NFL players, guys who have million-dollar contracts, are broke within 2 years of leaving the league, and that's because they're not making good financial decisions. So if you have a guy that's making $50K or a girl that's making $50K that's making all the right financial decisions, she's going to be leaps and bounds ahead of these people that are just flashing their money and trying to act like they actually have it. When in all actuality, they might have student debt. Women hold 65% of all of the student debt in the US. They might have consumer debt. 63% of women from the age of 18 to 24 are in consumer debt, while only 38% of men in the same group, in the same age group, have consumer debt. They might actually be broke because they spend all of their money on depreciating assets. And when she says that a lot of women in her industry are married, we know by and large that's just not true. The only people that like to marry strippers are rappers and entertainers. When it comes to long-term commitment and marriage, men care more about your morals than they care about your money. Because if I'm a man and I can take care of myself, I can take care of my house, I can take care of my kids and pay for all that stuff on my own, then why would I care about your money when you're going to expect me to pay majority of the significant bills anyway? The only people that are going to be impressed by the fact that you can show that much money are women that don't understand the actual consequences of your job, and men that just want to live off of you and spend your refund check. What I'm basically trying to say is if you want to go into that line of work, do whatever you want to do, but just make sure you put the money in a smart place, because if you don't, there is no longevity in that career and you could quite possibly end up broke. Till next time.
My boo, I'm just here for the rendezvous, and I came the whole damn groove, cause I've been feeling like you want me to. He say stop saying I'm so I can't hold myself when I pull up.